Prince Harry finally broke his silence, and the world wasn't ready for what he said. For years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle crafted the image of unity, love, and rebellion. Every public appearance felt rehearsed, every word carefully measured. But all it took was one unguarded moment, one raw sentence, to shatter that perfect illusion. It happened at what was supposed to be a feel-good wellness summit in California. Cameras rolled, lights glowed softly, and Harry looked at ease, smiling as he spoke about mental health and resilience.
This might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
An apartment. I feel like the focus is starting to shift off of me. Maybe in editing you'll fix it?
That's fine, I'll go it alone. Just like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what.
Put it with the rest of them.
Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
Topics he's always cared about deeply. But then came a question that cut through the calm like a blade. Do you ever feel like you lost yourself in love? The room fell silent. You could hear the tension. Harry hesitated. His eyes dropped for a second, that familiar royal composure slipping away. And then quietly, he said the words that would echo across the world. Yeah, there was a time I didn't recognize the man in the mirror anymore. I thought I was finding freedom. But sometimes, freedom can look a lot like a cage. No one clapped, no one smiled, just stunned silence. The moment felt heavy, like everyone in that room realized they were witnessing something he didn't mean to share. Those 9 words didn't sound like a polished speech. They sounded like pain, honesty, maybe even regret. Within hours, the clip went viral. Millions of views. Comment sections filled with theories. Was he talking about Meghan? Did he mean leaving the royal family? Why did he look so sad? Psychologists called it a subconscious cry for help. Royal experts said it was his most revealing confession yet. Fans didn't know what to think. But they knew one thing for sure. That wasn't a man pretending. That was a man breaking. And as the internet exploded with headlines and speculation, something far more intense was happening behind the scenes, inside the walls of the Montecito mansion he once called home. Because while the world was trying to decode Harry's words, Meghan Markle was already reacting. And according to sources close to the couple, that reaction was anything but calm. But before we get to the confrontation that changed everything, we need to understand why those 9 words hurt more than any royal scandal ever could. The moment that clip hit the internet, everything changed. Sign freedom like a cage started trending before Harry even got back to Montecito. Twitter threads, TikTok edits, YouTube breakdowns, everyone had an opinion. Some called it brave, others called it a cry for help. But to Meghan, it was something far worse. It was dangerous. Inside their California mansion, the mood was anything but calm. According to insiders, Meghan was furious the second she saw the clip. Her phone was blowing up, messages from PR teams, publicists, and friends all asking the same question. What did he mean by that?
I thought we were moving forward, Meghan. Well, we're not.
Dad, do you have any cash for a cab? Oh, look, Grandma's on the money. I never noticed that before.
She knew the damage had already started, because this time, it wasn't the tabloids twisting their story. It was Harry himself, unscripted, unfiltered, and heartbreakingly honest. When Harry walked through the door that evening, the air was thick. Meghan was waiting for him, phone in hand, eyes cold. "Do you realize what you've done?" she reportedly snapped. "You made me look manipulative. You made us look broken." But Harry didn't yell back. He didn't apologize either. For once, he just looked at her and said quietly, "I didn't ruin anything. I just told the truth." Those 6 words hit harder than the confession itself. For years, Harry had been the peacekeeper, the one smoothing things over, taking the blame, protecting their image no matter the cost. But that night, something in him had changed. The man who always said sorry wasn't sorry anymore. The argument that followed was explosive. Voices echoed through their house, staff reportedly avoiding the area entirely. Meghan accused him of undoing years of hard work, the brand deals, the interviews, the image they built together. She said he was feeding the tabloids that used to destroy him. But Harry stayed calm. No shouting, no anger, just quiet exhaustion. It wasn't rage that drove him now, it was clarity. For the first time in years, he wasn't speaking as part of Harry and Meghan. He was just speaking as Harry. Meanwhile, outside those walls, the story had already taken a life of its own. Every news outlet was running with it. Prince Harry's confession shakes Montecito. Freedom or regret? Royal rebel admits he's not happy. And as Meghan's PR team scrambled to spin the situation, the public saw something different. Not a scandal, but a glimpse of the man behind the headlines. But what no one knew yet was that this wasn't just a media storm, it was the beginning of something far bigger. The unraveling of the image they'd both spent years protecting. Because once the internet smelled truth, there was no turning back. By the next morning, the entire world was talking. Clips of Harry's freedom can look like a cage moment were everywhere, slowed down, analyzed, and replayed frame by frame. Every flicker of his expression became evidence. Every pause, every sigh, every word was dissected like a royal mystery waiting to be solved. Royal experts flooded talk shows. Some claimed Harry was finally admitting regret for leaving the monarchy. Others insisted he was hinting at something deeper, a man trapped not by duty, but by love. And fans, they didn't know what to believe anymore. Many who once defended Meghan now whispered, "He doesn't look free, he looks lost." Across the Atlantic, British tabloids pounced like wolves. Headlines screamed betrayal and regret. Harry's shocking confession, freedom or regret. Inside Meghan's fury as Harry breaks silence. Even American outlets joined in, turning what was supposed to be a mental health summit into one of the biggest royal media storms of the year. Behind closed doors, Meghan's team was in full-blown crisis mode. Phones were ringing non-stop. Emails flew between PR advisors, publicists, and legal reps. The mission was clear: contain the fallout before it consumed them both. Statements were drafted, reworded, then scrapped again. By nightfall, a new narrative began to emerge. Harry's comments were taken out of context and misinterpreted. The official line claimed he was speaking about personal growth, not regret. But it was already too late. The internet doesn't forget, and this time, people weren't buying it. The world had seen his face, the tremble in his voice, the weight behind those words. No PR spin could erase that moment of honesty. Soon, sympathy began shifting. For the first time, Harry wasn't being mocked or criticized. He was being pitied. Comment sections filled with heartbreak. He looks tired. He sounds controlled. This isn't the Harry we knew. Even royal watchers who once doubted him were starting to sound worried. The narrative was flipping, and fast. Inside Montecito, that shift didn't go unnoticed. Meghan watched as her image, once seen as strong and independent, started to crack. The same media she once manipulated so well was now turning the spotlight against her. And no matter how many statements her team pushed out, the audience had already made up its mind. Because in the digital age, silence speaks louder than spin, and Harry's silence was deafening. No clarification, no denial, no carefully worded post. Nothing. Just quiet. And that quiet, that refusal to play along, made everyone wonder, was this finally the moment Prince Harry stopped being managed and started being himself? But what came next would prove that this wasn't just a PR crisis. It was a breaking point, one that would forever change the power dynamic inside the walls of their Montecito home. When Harry came home that night, the calm exterior was gone. The Montecito mansion, once their sanctuary, had turned into a pressure cooker. Meghan was pacing the room, phone in hand, watching the clip on repeat. The glow from the screen reflected in her eyes, her expression tightening with every second. The world wasn't just watching anymore, it was judging. And to Meghan, that was unbearable. The second he walked in, she didn't wait. "You made me look like the manipulator," she reportedly snapped, her voice sharp and cutting. "Do you realize what this does to us? To me?" But this time, Harry didn't fold. He didn't apologize. He didn't try to smooth it over. Instead, he said quietly, almost to himself, "I just told the truth." That was the moment everything cracked. The argument that followed was unlike anything before. Voices echoed through the marble halls, and staff, used to silence, quietly disappeared to other wings of the house. Meghan accused him of betraying their image, their brand, the empire they had built together. "You've undone everything," she said, "everything we worked for." But Harry's calm unnerved her even more than anger could have. He wasn't yelling, he wasn't defensive. He just stood there, quiet, steady, almost peaceful, like a man who'd already made peace with the consequences. It wasn't rebellion, it was release. For years he had defended, apologized, and protected her against the world, but now he was done performing, done hiding his exhaustion behind smiles and statements, and that realization terrified her more than any headline ever could. Because if Harry wasn't willing to play along anymore, the illusion would collapse. And it was already happening. Outside, every major outlet was dissecting their relationship. Paparazzi photos were analyzed for signs of tension. Old interviews were replayed, searching for clues. Every laugh, every touch, every glance between them was reinterpreted under a harsher light. And slowly, the public perception shifted. From admiration to pity, from fascination to skepticism. Meghan's PR team tried to fight it. They planted new stories, released soft focus photos, pitched flattering interviews. But no matter how hard they tried, nothing stuck. The world had already seen the moment when Harry's mask fell, and once people see truth, they don't forget it. Harry stayed silent through it all. No statements, no interviews, just quiet distance. And that silence, that absence of denial, became the loudest message of all. Because for the first time in years, it wasn't the palace controlling his narrative. It wasn't Meghan's PR team crafting his lines. It was him, unfiltered, honest, free. But that freedom came at a cost, and soon, the cracks in their carefully built empire would become impossible to hide. In the weeks that followed, Harry seemed to vanish. The man who once filled headlines daily was suddenly quiet. No new interviews, no appearances, no smiling couple photos in glossy magazines. It was as if he had simply stepped out of his own story. And that silence made people talk even more. At first, fans thought it was just damage control, that the couple was lying low until the storm passed. But insiders began to whisper something different. Harry wasn't hiding. He was withdrawing. The same man who once stood in front of cameras defending every decision was now turning them away. Friends noticed it first. The once talkative, joking Harry had become distant, softer, slower. One of his old army mates told a reporter, "He used to be the loudest in the room. Now it's like he's somewhere else entirely." Another insider said he spent more time outdoors than in meetings, often taking long rides alone or sitting quietly in the garden for hours. It wasn't depression, it was detachment. Harry wasn't angry anymore. He was empty. Years of pressure, performance, and protecting others had left nothing behind. And while the world debated whether his freedom had turned into regret, those close to him saw what was really happening. He was trying to find himself again. Meanwhile, Meghan's world was spinning faster. Her PR team worked overtime, calling in every contact they had. Press statements, exclusive interviews, glowing features, all designed to steer the story back in her favor. She needed control again, but control was slipping. Each time her team released a clarification, the internet responded with memes and mockery. "He looks trapped. She's trying too hard. Let him breathe." Every attempt to reshape the narrative only deepened the divide between them. Behind the mansion's gates, the tension grew thicker. Meghan's frustration turned to fear. She reportedly told Harry, "You're destroying everything we built." But this time, he didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He just said softly, "Maybe that's the point." That was the moment she realized it wasn't just about one viral clip, it was about something much bigger. Harry wasn't rebelling against the media, he was rebelling against the life they'd created together. The brand, the image, the endless performance. In public, Meghan tried to keep the illusion alive, walking alone, smiling for cameras, posting carefully curated photos. But even the most polished image couldn't hide the cracks anymore. The man who once stood beside her was gone, at least in spirit. And to the outside world, it looked like Prince Harry, the man who had walked away from the crown, was now walking away from something even heavier. But the real turning point was still to come, because soon, whispers of a secret project would expose just how far Harry's quiet rebellion had gone. It started as a rumor, a whisper buried deep in royal gossip threads. Harry's writing something. At first, no one believed it. After all, the Sussex brand had always been a shared mission. Everything they did was together. Every project, every statement, every headline carefully coordinated between them. But this time, something was different. The whispers said Harry was working on something alone. No Netflix cameras, no publishers, no Meghan-approved editors, just him and his words. Some said it was a journal, others claimed it was a memoir, but those who'd seen snippets described it as raw, unfiltered, and brutally honest. No spin, no strategy, no PR polish, just Prince Harry, stripped of the titles, the glamour, and the noise. Inside the Montecito mansion, Meghan began to notice things. Late nights, locked doors, a notebook that never left his side. And when she finally confronted him about it, the truth came out. "Why would you hide this from me?" she reportedly asked. "You're making me look like the problem." Harry looked at her, calm but firm. "It's not about you," he said. That single line hit harder than any argument ever could. For years, his story had been their story. Every decision, every public word, every move shaped by how it would reflect on them. But now, for the first time, Harry wasn't trying to protect anyone. He wasn't defending the brand, the marriage, or the narrative. He was defending himself. According to insiders, Meghan was furious. She saw the project as betrayal, another blow to their fragile image. But for Harry, it was freedom. Writing became his therapy, his rebellion, his quiet escape from the noise. Those who spoke to him said he wasn't angry anymore, just honest. "He's not trying to hurt anyone," one friend said. "He's just trying to remember who he is." And that was exactly what scared Meghan the most, because for years, her power came from control over the story, over perception, over him. But this time, she couldn't edit his words or redirect the narrative. The truth was out of her hands. Soon, reports of Harry's secret writing project hit the media. Headlines exploded again. Prince Harry's private journal leaks. A new memoir without Meghan? The Duke's silent rebellion. No one knew what was true, but that didn't matter. What mattered was the symbolism. For the first time since stepping down from royal duties, Harry was doing something entirely on his own. Behind the gates of their mansion, Meghan's frustration turned to panic. PR meetings stretched late into the night. Calls were made, plans were drawn up, but nothing could stop what was already happening. The quiet unraveling of the image they'd built together. And outside, the world began to sense it too. The perfect couple who once fought the palace hand in hand were now fighting something far bigger, each other's silence. But Meghan wasn't ready to lose control. And soon, her attempt to reclaim the spotlight would backfire in ways she never expected. By now, the fairy tale was fading fast. Hollywood, once their playground, had quietly turned its back. Invitations slowed, sponsorships stalled. The glamorous couple that once dominated magazine covers suddenly looked irrelevant. And Meghan felt it. Every day, the silence from the industry grew louder. Netflix had gone cold, Spotify had walked away, and the media, once obsessed with their story, had moved on to new scandals. The royal rebels who once rewrote the rulebook were now being written off as a fading headline. For someone who built a world around staying in control, Meghan was watching that control slip through her fingers. Behind the scenes, she began to plan her comeback. According to insiders, she started working on what her team called the reintroduction, a glossy magazine feature that would remind everyone who she really was: elegant, misunderstood, powerful. The goal? Reset her image, reignite sympathy, and recapture the world's attention. But when the article finally dropped, it flopped. No buzz, no viral quotes, no headlines, just silence. The internet barely noticed. The few who did comment said it felt forced, artificial, the same story she'd told a dozen times before. The charm, the mystery, the magnetism, all gone. And the saddest part? Harry didn't even promote it. No posts, no support, not even a mention. People noticed. Online discussions shifted again. Why isn't he backing her up? Did they split? Something feels off. For years, Meghan had been the storyteller. Now, the story was running away from her. Meanwhile, Harry was moving in the opposite direction. While Meghan's team obsessed over image, he started appearing at small, quiet charity events, alone. No cameras, no entourage. Just Harry, shaking hands, smiling softly, reconnecting with the kind of people who knew him before all of this. It wasn't polished or perfect, but it was real. And the public noticed that too. Photos of him helping veterans, chatting with local workers, and laughing with children began circulating online. The comments were strikingly different this time. This is the Harry we remember. He finally looks at peace. She's losing her hold on him. Each post, each photo, each headline pushed the divide wider. Meghan's world, once built on perfect optics, was now cracking under the weight of authenticity. And no matter how much she tried to spin it, Harry's silence spoke volumes. According to one staffer, Meghan was breaking down behind the scenes. Late-night phone calls, sleepless hours, tears. "I gave up everything for him," she allegedly said, "and now he's making me look like the villain." But Harry wasn't out to destroy her. He wasn't plotting revenge or feeding the press. He was simply done. Done performing. Done explaining. Done living a story that wasn't his. And that quiet detachment, that refusal to play the game, was the moment the power couple finally stopped being a couple of any kind. And because the truth was no longer about who controlled the narrative. It was about who was finally free enough to stop caring. As the world watched their empire crumble, Harry began to change. Not loudly, not publicly, but quietly, almost invisibly. Gone were the red carpet smiles and the carefully written statements. In their place came something much simpler. A man rediscovering what peace actually felt like. He started showing up alone. Not at premieres or panels, but at local charities, community events, and quiet gatherings with veterans. No stylists, no entourage. Sometimes he'd even drive himself. People who saw him said he seemed lighter, still serious, but no longer burdened by the performance of being Prince Harry, the brand. There was one photo that went viral. Harry, wearing jeans and a plain white shirt, laughing with a group of school kids. No cameras were expected, no royal protocol in sight. Just a man connecting with real people again. And that image said more than any interview ever could. Meanwhile, back in Montecito, Meghan watched it all unfold online. Each time she opened her phone, she saw comment sections flooded with love for him. Not them. He looks happy again. He's glowing without her. This is the Harry we always knew. Every positive comment about him felt like a reminder that the world was slipping out of her hands. According to insiders, Meghan tried to bridge the gap. She suggested more joint appearances, new media ventures, a rebranding, anything to pull him back into their shared spotlight. But Harry refused. Politely, calmly, firmly. He'd stopped saying we. Now it was always I. I'm visiting this charity. I'm working on a personal project. I need time to think. And that single word, I, symbolized the quiet rebirth of a man who had spent years being defined by everyone but himself. Those who knew him before fame said it felt like he'd found his center again. No more guilt, no more explaining, just focus. Some even said he'd started journaling regularly, meditating, and spending long hours on horseback rides, far away from the noise. He's not running, one friend told a reporter. He's healing. Meanwhile, Meghan's public attempts to reclaim her image only made things worse. Every new podcast teaser, every glossy photo shoot felt disconnected from the reality the world was seeing. While she clung to the narrative of empowerment, Harry embodied something far more powerful: peace. And soon the internet began calling it what it was: a quiet transformation. A man once trapped between two worlds, the Crown and California, had finally chosen neither. He chose himself. But behind the calm and the smiles, one final realization was waiting, one that would redefine everything he thought freedom meant. Because the truth wasn't that Harry had escaped the palace, it was that he'd finally escaped the illusion. It didn't end with drama. There were no screaming headlines, no public breakup, no fiery statements to the press. It ended the same way it began, quietly. Harry didn't storm out or make a scene. He just stopped showing up, not just for events or interviews, but for her. He stopped standing beside Meghan during joint appearances, stopped holding her hand for the cameras, stopped playing his part in the picture-perfect illusion. Those close to him noticed the shift right away. His tone was softer now, his body language calmer. It wasn't anger anymore, it was peace. A heavy kind of peace that only comes after you've stopped fighting a battle you were never meant to win. Meghan, on the other hand, couldn't understand it. She was still fighting, with PR teams, with the press, with public opinion. But no matter what she said, no matter what she posted, it no longer mattered. The world had already made up its mind. And Harry? He didn't need to convince anyone anymore. He wasn't explaining, correcting, or defending. He was simply being. The quote that once went viral, "Freedom can look a lot like a cage," had turned into something prophetic. The cage had never been the palace, or the press, or even his royal title. It was the carefully crafted life he'd built after leaving it all behind. A life wrapped in image, performance, and control, where even freedom had rules. And now, he was finally walking out of it. People who saw him in California said he looked different. Not the glamorous Hollywood Harry that magazines sold, but something simpler, rawer, and more real. A man who had lost everything he thought mattered, and found what actually did. He spent long hours outside, often alone, watching sunsets, riding through quiet trails, or visiting local shelters without any announcement. No security fanfare, no press coverage, just presence. When a journalist asked one of his old friends how he was doing, they said, "He looks lighter, sad maybe, but free." And that's the thing, sometimes peace doesn't come with grand gestures or big statements. Sometimes it comes when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop proving, defending, and performing. Meghan, meanwhile, was still fighting ghosts. Her PR teams rotated endlessly, trying to fix what couldn't be fixed. Public interest had faded, and sympathy had turned to fatigue. The world had moved on. And Harry? He didn't need to move at all. He had finally stopped running. From the palace, from the media, from the expectations that once chained him. Because the truth is, freedom isn't a place. It's not a new house, a new life, or a new title. It's the moment you stop living for someone else's version of you. That's what Harry had finally found. Not fame, not revenge, Not even closure, just peace. And maybe that's the ending no one saw coming. Not scandal, not rebellion, not destruction. Just a man who lost everything the world told him to chase and found himself instead. And that's how it ended. Not with headlines or heartbreak, but with stillness. The man who once carried the weight of a crown, then the burden of fame, finally learned the hardest lesson of all, that peace doesn't come from running away. It comes from standing still long enough to face the truth. Prince Harry's story was never really about escape. It was about awakening. He walked away from palaces and press rooms only to realize the real prison was never made of walls. It was made of expectations. His, theirs, the world's. And when he finally let go of trying to be understood, he found what he'd been chasing all along, himself. No grand statement, no camera flash, just silence. The kind of silence that means freedom. And maybe that's what makes his story so powerful. Because it reminds us that even when the world defines you by titles, by headlines, by mistakes, you can still rewrite the ending. So whether you see him as a runaway prince or a man reborn, one thing is clear. This isn't the fall of Prince Harry, it's his beginning. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more untold royal stories, hidden truths, and the moments behind the headlines. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones told in silence.